Okay, welcome back. So in the last session, we have seen how to set up the Anaconda environment in a system, and I guess everyone were able to properly set up the Anaconda environment in a system. Now let's proceed with implementing some first code in your Python, and let's start having some hands-on with your Python. Before start implementing some codes, before having some hands-on with Python, first we should understand about something called as IDE. We call it as Integrated Development Environment. So what exactly is IDE or Integrated Development Environment? As a developer, when you want to write some code and execute it and get some results, right? You need a place, right? You need an environment for that. And that environment is nothing but your IDE, your Integrated Development Environment, where a developer can write your code, execute it, get the results, and all those things. Few environments, what happens is you can also get some suggestions when you're writing your code, means any kind of function suggestions or the code suggestions. You can some few IDEs also display the errors immediately when you're writing your codes. Also, when you're writing your codes itself, it can display some syntax error or something like that. So the advantage of using IDEs is it will be helping us lives more better to develop things and to implement things. Instead of using IDs, you can write your code in a simple notepad also. You can just open a simple notepad, write your code and execute it. But the advantage of using IDs is your coding and your level of your development time reduces, right? So if we talk about IDs, we have a number of IDs available in the market. These are few which I've listed here. There are few which are very famous. Apart from this, there are so many libraries available in the market. Like we have something called as IDLE, which is ideally is a very basic one. I mean, it's a very basic one which we use for developing in Python. You also get this IDE when you install a normal Python directly through your Python official website. Apart from ideally, you also have something called as PyCharm. PyCharm is very famous for writing for Python, especially in web-based and all those things. All those developers use PyCharm. Apart from that, we also have something called as VS Code. We have Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook is a web-based IDE basically, and we have something called as Spider. In our course, we'll be using Jupyter Notebook a lot. I mean, most of the cases we'll be using Jupyter Notebook. We have because of some reasons. And of course, we can use some VS Code and PyCharm also in some cases, right? Okay, so let's start using IDLE first. Let's have a simple basic hands-on with IDLE and see how IDLE works. Okay, so you can just go to, if you want to launch IDLE, you can just open your start and you can just search for IDLE. If you have installed Anaconda platform, your IDLE will be getting by default. So you can just open IDLE directly here. So once you have opened IDLE, this is how the IDLE looks. This is a basic simple interface of IDLE. Now, once you have launched this IDLE, you can start writing your code in here. As I told you already, Python supports two ways of programming. Either you can interact, I mean, you can write your Python codes in a shell. So whatever you're seeing is a simple Python shell in IDLE, where you can write your codes, you can interact with Python. The other way is you can create a simple script. You can create a simple script and write your code, entire code there, and you can execute your code. First, let's start writing your code in a simple interactive based, and then we'll go for a script based, right? So if you want to go for an interactive based, it is very simple. Just you can just say like here itself, you have your shell, you can start executing your code. So I mean, for example, let's start with a simple mathematical operation. So I'll just say 2 plus 3. So if I say 3 plus 3, yes, I'm getting 5. So you can see, you can code along with me. Yes, so you can say 2 minus 5, you're getting this. This is a simple addition and subtraction. You have multiplication also, like 2 into 3, right? 6. And if you want division, you can simply say 5 divided by 4, 1.25. So here, if you just look at this, it's performing division and you're getting the division along with the decimals here. I mean, you're getting a decimal point here. For example, if I say 4 divided by 2, you're also getting a decimal point, but I don't want this decimal point. I mean, I want only number without decimal. Then what we can do is we can use double slash. For example, here if you say 5 divided by 4, you're getting 1.25, right? But if I say 5 double slash, I mean, single slash is for float based. I mean, we call it as a float based division. Means you'll be getting a floating point there. I mean, you'll be getting a decimal number there. But if you want an integer based, I mean, if you want without floating point, then you can simply say 5 double slash 4. If I say 5 double slash 4, you are getting without decimal. You can see you're getting 1, but 0.25 is not here because it's here you have mentioned double slash. means your decimal number will be removed. You can try with various things. For example, 2/3, you're getting only 0, but actually if you say 2/3, it is 0.6, but you're not getting a decimal here. In the same way, 4/2, you're getting 2, but not 2.0. Here you're getting 2.0. That's the difference between a single slash and double slash. And if you want to use power in Python, so you can just simply say 2 power 4. For example, power, if you say double slash, it's for power. Okay, so 2 power 4, sorry, 4 power 2, I guess, perfect, 16, or 2 power 3, it is 8, like this. You can use double star for power, for implementing power. Okay, so this is how you can use a simple interactive based interface in a shell, and you can start giving your commands and it will be giving your result. But I want to go for a script. I want to write a script and I want to save it, because now the moment I close this, automatically this will be all whatever I wrote will be removed, right? But I want to just save in a script and you can execute in a script. How can you do that? So when you want to write in a script in a file, I can say, and execute it, you can go to file and just say new file. The moment you go to file and new file, empty script will be appeared here. You can start writing your code, whatever you wrote right now here. I'll start writing my code. I'll just say 2 plus 5 or 1 plus 5 or 3 minus 4 or 2 divided by 5 or 3 double divided by 5 or 2 power 3. So like this, I can actually write my code, whatever I wrote in my shell, in a script right now. So there's a difference between a shell and script. Here in a shell, you're immediately writing your code and getting a result immediately, but here you'll be writing your entire code in a file, and once you can execute this code and you can get your result. Means your entire code will be in a single file. Okay, now I have to save this file. Before running this file, I have to save this file. How do I save this file? So either I can, shortcut is Ctrl S, or I can just go to file and save as or save, either way. Now whatever files I create in this course, or whatever codes I create in this course, all those codes will be I'll be saving in a folder. So I'll be creating a folder first. So I'll go to my D drive. You can go to whatever drive you want. You can also do along with me. I mean, I would recommend you also to create a new folder for this particular course, and you can create your codes and you can implement all your codes in this particular folder. So you can just simply say create a new folder. Control Shift N is your shortcut for creating a folder, and I'll name this folder as data science. Okay, I'll name this folder as data science, and in this folder I will create a subfolder called as Python. Okay, in this folder I will save my file, whatever I've just created, my first code, right? So I'll be saving in a name called as first code. And as I told you already, the extension for Python files is .py. So actually you're going to give any extension, because automatically it is taking it as it is Python files. So automatically the extension will be .py. But whenever this particular code is saved, it will be in a first code.py. Okay, so I'll just save this right now. So once I save this, yes, this file is saved right now. I can now start executing this. So how do you execute this? So how do you execute this means either the shortcut is F5, or you can just click on run and click on run module. Okay, the moment you click on run module, the output will generally appear in shell. Okay, the output will be generally appearing in shell, but there is no output here, right? I'll just close this. I'll close this shell once. Don't close this editor, text editor, but just close this shell and rerun them once again. Let's rerun once again, run module again. Still, I cannot get any output. Why? Why do you think I'm not getting any output? Just think. I'll tell you why. Because you see, whenever you're writing an interactive based, for example, when I say 2 plus 5 or 2 plus 3, you're immediately getting a result. But here, when you're going an interactive, when you're going for a script based, when you're writing a script and executing it, you should explicitly tell your Python that to print whatever output you want. Means here it is your Python is, whenever you run this, your Python is executing these all codes, whatever arithmetic operations you have done, all these codes are getting executed. But the thing is, the output is not getting printed because you have not told your Python to print it. So you should explicitly tell your Python to print it. How do you tell then? How do you tell your Python to explicitly print it? By using a function called as print. Okay, there is a function called as inbuilt function in Python called as print. So by using this command called as print, you will write your print here and tell explicitly to Python that please print the output whatever you got, or else it will not print it, just execute, that's it. So how do you print it? It's very simple. You can simply say print off. Okay, like this. So the syntax is something like this. The syntax for print is something like this. This is very important. So we'll be using a print a lot. So you can simply say print of your whatever you want to print in this. Okay, so whatever statement you want to print. Okay, this is how you will be writing your print statement. Apart from this, there are multiple ways of using print, but I'm using in this way, right? I mean, I'm telling the initial way of using print. Okay, so print of 1 plus 5. So whatever you'll be getting 1 plus 5 as a result, that will be printed. In the same way, for every statement, I'll be writing print. Okay, so this is very important for a script based. When you're using a script based, this print statement is very important to work with. Okay, so let's try this, and don't forget to end your brackets. Okay, so whatever in this brackets, that will be get printed. Okay, cool. So now I've done writing my print. Now I have to again save it. So again, either I can say Control yes or go to file and save, because the updated value should be saved. The updated code should be saved. So I'll just say Control yes. So once you have done saving, so again I'll run this module. I'll click on run module. Sorry, just click on run module. Cool. I got my output, right? So this is how you can just run your code. Means compulsory should write your print. So you can see the moment I wrote my print, I'm getting all my, and moreover, the automatically what happens is when you write your print, it will be printing in next line only. So it will not print in a single line. That's the advantage in Python. So you can see all the outputs are printed in next line. So 6 minus 1, 0.408. So this is the advantage of using your print function. If you want to print, means you should explicitly tell your Python to print. Okay. So this is one way of running your Python code .py file in ideally. The other way of running a code, any kind of .py file, is using your terminal. That is actually a authentic way of running your Python files. And industry, most of the people will be using, in developers will be using the command prompt to run your Python files. So how do you do that? Okay, how do you do that? Means just open your command prompt. Okay, and the first thing is you should go to the path where your file is present. Okay, so where is my path right now? In D drive. So I have to go to D drive. I should say D colon. If it is present in F drive in your system, F drive, or if it is E drive, you should say E colon, something like that. And in D drive, it is present in a folder called as data science. I should say D CD. CD is nothing but change directory, data science. Okay, this is one way. Then CD Python. Okay, so because in data science folder, my file is present in Python, so Python. Now, how do you execute your code? To execute your code, the syntax is, I mean, in the terminal, if you want to execute your code, the syntax is something like this. Carefully, you can write it down somewhere. So Python, all small, Python space, the file name .py. Okay, so .py, this is a extension, this is a file name .py, and Python is a command. So Python space file name is a how you will be executing your Python files. So I'll just show you. So you can simply say Python space, my file name is firstcode.py. Cool, I got it, right? So this is how you can execute your code from your terminal. As you are present in the same folder, you can directly say Python space your file name to get your output. But let's assume that I want to execute this file from somewhere, not in the same folder, in somewhere. You can also do in that way. How do I do that? So right now I've executed the my Python file from the same folder. Now what I should do is, now if I want to execute some from anywhere I want, then again I'll be going for command prompt. Now you can see I'm not present in that particular folder. I'm present in a different folder. Now what I can do is I can simply say Python space my entire file path. This is another way. I mean, this one way where you can execute your Python file. Other way is Python space your file path. Entire file path you have to give. Means if your Python code is not present in the same folder, then you can give the entire file path. So you can simply say Python space your file path. What is your file path? So this is my file path. You can copy this file path from here, or you can go to that particular folder and copy the file path. It's your wish. If you want to go to that particular folder and copy the file path, so I can simply go to the D drive, and I'll go to the data science folder, which I created just now. And here you can see there is a folder called as Python, and you can see here my first code.py is present. So I'll just right click on this, go to properties, go to security, and copy the entire path. This is other way of getting the Python path. Okay. So once you got your Python path, copy that, go back and paste it here and run. And one more important thing is, whenever you're using paths, I would recommend using quotes, or else you'll be getting this error because of the spaces. Always use quotes. D Python space your quotes. Okay. Python space your quotes of your path. Cool. So this is other way of executing your Python. So these are the multiple ways you can execute your python.py files. I hope you're clear with this. So one way is through terminal directly like this, or if you want to execute in the ideally shell, you can just simply say run module and run module. So these are the different ways you can execute your code. So this is how you can execute your first code in your Python. Okay. Thank you.